It was a typical Sunday. Nothing out of the ordinary, coffee billowing in our cups, quiet music drifting from their phone, the soft fragrance of freshly laundered garments in the air. We were neatly folding attire together, the kind of serene, homely occasion that usually feels reassuring. That's when Kit said it, just like they were commenting on the weather. Sometimes I think I should have ended up with Alistair instead. I didn't register it right away. I actually waited for them to giggle. Maybe flash that sidelong grin that told me they were just, but they didn't. They kept folding a tea towel, eyes down, tone unconcerned, like they were just musing aloud. I looked at them, aghast. What did you utter? Kit didn't flinch. They met my stare and said, I simply believe perhaps matters would have been simpler. Alistair made me feel validated. He always had drive. He never became complacent like this. Their hand moved, indicating around us, to our abode, our life, our tranquil little world we built with endeavor, concession, and time. I didn't articulate anything, just stared as something inside my chest clenched, wreathed so hard it ached. I departed, went below stairs. I told myself I was overreacting, that I misheard or misunderstood, but Kit didn't pursue me. They never came to clarify it. Never said that came out incorrectly. I stayed on the couch, not because they requested it, but because the chasm between us suddenly felt too vast to disregard. I lay there pondering about Alistair, speculating. How frequently Kit had compared me against Alistair without voicing a syllable. Alistair was the chap from their university era, the admirable fellow with an alluring smile and big pledges that never endured. He vanished after graduation, left Kit without prior notice for an overseas position. Kit wept in my embrace back then, shattered. And yet, several years on, in the middle of folding laundry, they tell me they might have selected him if afforded the opportunity. After that particular day, something inside me shifted. I ceased talking as much, remained longer at work. Sometimes I'd sit in the drive with the motor running, needing a few supplementary moments to put on the facade. Before walking through the door, Kit noticed, of course, inquired if something was amiss. I'd shrug, say everything was sound, but it wasn't. I was withdrawing bit by bit, not with shouting or disagreements, but by enclosing myself off. I stopped being candid. I ceased sharing the minor particulars of my life. I didn't chuckle as much, and nor did Kit. Eventually, even our evening meals became quiet, mechanical rituals. We looked like strangers. I couldn't stop visualizing Alistair, this phantom from a decade previous, suddenly looming substantial between us. I felt diminutive next to him, even though he wasn't there. Then came the night Kit arrived home late. Hours past supper, no correspondence, no warning. I waited. When they finally strolled in around 10 o'clock, they looked perturbed, anxious. Said they met an old acquaintance for drinks. They didn't mention his name. They didn't have to. Was it him? I inquired. Kit nodded. I didn't utter anything more. Just quietly packed a modest satchel. Not because I was irate, but because I had nothing remaining to offer, I told them. Perhaps you ought to determine what you truly desire, Kit. Looked like they wanted to reply, but I interrupted them. I'm not angry, I uttered. I'm simply exhausted, and I departed. No dispute, no commotion, just stillness. I lodged with an associate for a period before finding a makeshift residence. Kit telephoned a few times, dispatched one correspondence trying to justify, said they didn't intend it how it sounded. I didn't respond. And in the quietude that followed, something astonishing happened. I felt unburdened. Solitary, yes, but liberated. I started rising early again, going for jogs, preparing my own fare. I started recalling who I was, before I molded myself to conform to someone else's life. I saw plainly how much I had made concessions, how long I had been trying to be sufficient for someone who always kept one eye on the distance, speculating what else might be out there. Several months elapsed. One submitted papers for dissolution, no rancor, No melodrama, just space. Then one day, unexpectedly, Kit arrived at my threshold. They looked altered, fatigued, like someone who had spent time contemplating. They said they saw Alistair again. Kit said they didn't even speak, just went past each other. And that he hadn't changed, still polished, still pursuing shimmering aspirations he could never quite grasp. Then they looked at me, eyes full of tears, and said, I was mistaken. I believed I wanted excitement. I wanted to feel cherished. But what we possessed was authentic. You turned up, you persevered, and I ruined that. I believed them. I genuinely did. But sometimes realization dawns too late, because when someone finally comprehends your worth, you've already mastered how to subsist without needing their affirmation. I didn't despise them, injured and anticipating. I had transformed. I didn't want to revert to the iteration of me who kept trying to procure someone's love. So, I told them, I'm pleased you appreciate it now, but I'm not returning. Kit sank to their knees at the doorstep, sobbing uncontrollably. I didn't slam the door in anger. I shut it with a peculiar composure, almost softly. For the first time, I wasn't clinging. I was electing tranquility. For the version of myself who had finally stopped pleading to be observed.